Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lads Discuss Death Battle. I've got a different microphone on because I am currently in my old setup area at the moment. Joined of us is your early mate.
So would you say your microphone is in another house?
I didn't get that at first when I realised, right.
I had something different prepared, but then I thought, no, this works.
And joining with us is Dungeon Master Sean here. Sean? John? Johnny? 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 John?
I'm working on it.
There he is.
I bunkered down for election day so well that I almost that my mic didn't want me to talk to anybody.
I thought
See,
doing the
you say that. I thought you were just trying to come up with an excellent intro.
Wow.
Mate, I'm more concerned. Mate, I'm more concerned about what's going to happen the day after the election.
That is true because we are recording this on election day. I would tell viewers to start voting, but I'm pretty sure by the time this video comes out, either this person's been elected.
Hold on, mate's poll instead.
So we did get some comments about. We actually got quite a few comments, mainly with our third topic. So I actually had to go through quite a few comments to see which one I wanted to give a shout out to. So the first comment from Brabuscus on our Bardock versus Omni-Man video. So we discussed this on our podcast, but I think the idea behind the kill wasn't just his arm gets blown off and that's it. I think the idea was that at the point Bardock has exhausted his energy, his senses were overwhelmed by pain, and he's probably run out of oxygen, saying he can't breathe in space, reminder. So and there's another case of something like Deku's death, except this one wasn't brewed by an unnecessary attack. I still say, that could be the reason he's dead, but it's still a shit death for a death battle. Like, it's to go back to an older episode when Thor versus Raiden. Thor smacked off Raiden's legs and then pummeled him into the sun, and then you saw Raiden get absorbed by it. That was pretty epic. This one just has Bardock just be like, GG's, and just falls into the sun.
Yeah. I stand by something I brought up on Brabuscast. I think it would have been better if maybe they just punched each other through the chest.
Yeah. Just overall, I get how the death worked. I just think it wasn't a good death. Cinematically, it could have been seen as good for an official story, but I just think for a death battle, I always like the over-the-top deaths. This comment, a very angry comment from CJ. Here we go again. And this is with our prediction for Giorno versus Joker. Bro, can you get to the point? Giorno destroys Joker. I'm sick and tired of your blabbing. Get to the effing point. You're all talking too much. Shut up.
About that.
You are where you're watching a podcast. Naturally, people on podcasts talk. They share their opinions, so... and you know what's funny? He actually did send a lot of replies, and this is his second reply. He did leave more comments to put on the screen. Because I told him, you're watching a podcast and you're complaining about people talking about it. He said, you need to shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. People have the right to criticize whatever they want to criticize. Yeah, I agree with that. People are allowed to criticize lads. We are always open to criticism. But telling people to shut up for a podcast is pretty stupid. The whole point of a podcast is you're watching people share their opinions on stuff. If you don't like those sort of videos, then maybe you shouldn't watch podcasts. That's all I'll say, CJ. But thanks for your comment and for your views. I actually tried to find his comment again. I think he actually deleted it. I tried to.
Yeah, I've been looking for it too.
Yeah, so I think he completely got. I think he must have realized he looked stupid. Here's some comments from our third topic though, talking about the analysis, which people really enjoyed. This first comment. From Fireball RKO. The analysis is good depending on what episode it is discussed. I think it's underrated, plus it gives reasons sometimes to their verdict at the end. So I think the analysis is very solid, specific moments. I do agree. I just think it really depends on how entertaining it is as well, because I do think, people always just go back to watch the fight. But I do think there are some analysis that are pretty funny.
Yeah, you need a good mix of both.
Yeah.
And that's why there were some characters in analysis that just like really stick out for me because it was that good mix of both.
This one from Mark, not you, your own mate, from Mark Cambrone. I'm not against the analysis, but Stitch vs. Rocket Raccoon made me realise how much I hate the skits with the characters. Like, I don't care for Boomstick and his issues with his ex-wife and dad, nor do I care for the existence of Dummy, Thank You, or DBX Announcer. I don't know, I kind of like the DBX Announcer. I came for the characters
His
who already
name is
exist.
Ringmaster. Get it right.
To be fair, if he doesn't care, why bother learning his name, mate?
Yeah, and he also said, I came for
True.
the characters who already exist. To be honest, I kind of get the reason on the last, but you only came for the characters that exist. I also think Death Battle is also a good point to learn about new characters. Like, I think that's also an underrated aspect, but I can kind of agree with people, because I feel as though the last 2 episodes, even though we did get a Wiz and Boomstick skit this episode, I can understand why people are sick of the Wiz and Boomstick shticks, because I feel as though they're not as funny as when going back to older episodes. I thought it was more funnier just trying to think about, like, picture the scenario as they described it. So I can understand that. And I had noticed more and more people weren't finding the Wiz and Boomstick skits as funny as the original Death Battles. So maybe that's why they don't do it as often, or at least so far with the episodes we've seen. And
They're saving on budget.
Character dependent and writing dependent is where I would go with that.
Yeah. Final comment from A Cursed Pizza.
I just saw that.
Wait, so this is a pineapple pizza?
Oh, shut up! I knew one of you guys was going to do that.
That is a cursed pizza.
It's not a cursed pizza. We're doing a repoll. We're going to do a repoll. Which pizza's better? No, I know who's going to win that. I think the edit.
It's just reminded me of a whole conversation on Bender.
I think the editing for the analysis are good, and the humour was good for the first few seasons before they started to animate Wizard Boosted. When something would happen to them and all we could do was hear what was happening, it was funny trying to imagine what was happening instead of seeing it. Hopefully now the animate scenes are gone and the humour might return to how it was. I agree, I actually kind of agree with that to an extent. Like, I didn't hate the skits, but I do think trying to imagine how they described, like when Boomstick imagined his crutch being caught between his zippers in Deadpool vs. Deathstroke, I thought, just imagine that after seeing what the character looks like, I could just picture the face he made.
I was about his, as Peter would put it in Deadpool 3, his Van Johnson getting stuck in the toaster.
I was about to say, Bill, this is pretty much what you were saying earlier. Are you sure you're not the same person?
Gasp! They found me out! I am the cursed pizza!
Well, it would make sense. You like the cursed pizza.
No, the plot twist, I named it after pepperoni. But yeah, so those are your comments. Thank you people for watching the third topic. That was actually a really fun topic to discuss, and people seem to really enjoy it. But speaking of enjoying, it's time to finally talk about this controversial episode before and after it came out. Joker versus Giorno. And I'm still going to say the name wrong because at this point that's kind of my shtick. Yeah, we got a really good episode. And I would say a very good episode. I would dare say this is probably better than Bardock versus Omni-Man.
Oh, for sure.
That I agree with.
Yeah, so the thing that was kind of interesting when going into this, because I was going to be learning a lot about Joker, because all my knowledge from Persona comes from all of my conversations with your anime when we just talk about one random thing and then suddenly it'll somehow go into a Persona conversation. Like, just on a whim, it'll just always happen. Like, one moment we're talking about donuts, then mate will be like, so speaking of donuts, there's this character Persona. That's not actually what's happened, but, that's the idea. So this is the time I was like, right, I actually get to learn a bit of the lore of Persona. I'm not gonna lie, visually, I think this series is pretty good. I'm not into it.
That's fair.
Like, it's not like, oh, it's too confusing to learn. It's just, looking at the gameplay, I mean, they've showed different variations of gameplay with these characters, but it was like, visually, I do like the art style of the Persona games. Like, they look so detailed and amazing. I think it's just, maybe I need to play it myself, because I think that's probably the issue. It's kind of like the whole Fire Emblem thing. Like, until I play it, I'm not sure I understand the hype around it.
Well, to be fair.
Well, if you got
one of
100
the
hours
games-
to spare.
Oh, I was gonna say one of the games is currently on Game Pass.
Yeah, Persona 3 remake, isn't it?
Yep. Even I don't know if it's for Ultimate or regular Game Pass members, but the perk is you get episode I guess for free,
That's
which is
good.
the DLC.
Yeah. I also do know that Persona 5 has like a spin-off game on Game Pass, well, Tactica, but I remember Sean saying it was terrible.
That game is awful.
Ugh. Who would
It
have
got
thought?
referenced in this episode, I think.
Who would have thought a XCOM style Persona game would be bad? Also, I did love this thing for Joker when they were listing his start, like a lot of his origin story. One of his sidebars is spent 10 years in spin-off hell. Because that's true. Because before like Persona 5, or no, after Persona 5, there was just loads of. I would always hear about a new Persona 5 game that coming out. I was like, I swear that came out 3 years ago. And then it's like, oh no,
Freaking dancing
that,
games.
it's like, no, Bill,
And yet-
this is a spin-off game.
And yet none of them were Persona 5 Arena.
And yeah, so even speaking about the analysis, again, similar to the last episode, I thought the analysis for Joker's portion was hilarious. I'd even say funnier than the last episode with Omni-Man and Bardock.
Yeah.
This is a small thing, but I like they put chalk in his dislikes.
Yeah, you're going to have to describe that one to me, mate.
Basically, when you're in class, there's a teacher that, well, if he catches you, like, not paying attention, he throws chalk at your head.
Is that a thing in Japan?
And in the Persona, it is.
Well, chalk it up to getting a better sleep schedule.
Oh yeah, their sleep schedule in Japan is fucked.
But if you get one of your social stats high enough, you dodge it.
Okay, that's funny.
And all your classmates just like, oh my god, is he a ninja?
Yeah, I think Joker's analysis was really well done.
Especially, once again, the editing portion goes hard. Like, it even captured that Persona style, because they've done, like, anime analysis before with, like, Gojo and Makima, and even with Dragon Ball. They never captured the style of the mangas, though. It was just, let's just have the... the editing was still good, but this one, it feels like they really captured the style of Persona. Its editing.
I think
Speaking
this was,
of-
I was gonna say this was done by Galaxy Max, and he nailed it like really well, especially with what I think Mate's about to talk about.
It's just that quick edit with Joker holding a Pokeball.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Oh, that one. I thought you were gonna talk about how in the actual Whiz and Boomstick segment they animate like a Persona cutscene.
I love that so much.
Yeah, I actually liked that. And you know what? It didn't have. They actually managed to save on budget as well.
Yeah. Also, just the lines, like, wow, our relationship meter is maxed out. Oh, well, guess there's no point in us hanging out anymore. Later, loser, I'm gonna go do untested pharmaceuticals and date my teacher. Oh,
Also,
wait, you what?
It's just wait.
because that's the thing.
You can.
Because that's the thing in
You
5.
can't do that.
I'm actually scared to ask the teacher and Joker's age.
Don't worry about it.
I was gonna say.
The less I know, the better.
But also
Graham-
the joke with Mara.
Yeah, that's a real Persona, by the way, everybody.
Yep. Although I don't think I would have been brave enough to work it in how they did, like listing off all these deities, show Mara, and Wiz go, Jesus Christ! And Boomstick just be like, wow, he looks way different than the paintings I've seen.
Yeah, I had to be honest. I always assumed this is like some sort of gag creature, like a fake. Do you remember when there was always a fake Pokemon leaks that came out? As a
Yeah.
kid, I was just used to assume, okay, there's no way that's an actual boss in the game. 20 years later, after seeing that image, I was like, oh, no, that is an actual monster in a video game. Like, Death Battle actually fully revealed it to me. I'm like, oh my god, that was real. Also, what videos was I watching when I managed to see a penis monster as a child?
I don't know, man.
Death Battle, Joker versus Giorno.
Well, speaking of Giorno, so talking about his analysis, again, I like the fact they completely changed the editing style. Like, you know, they had a very comic booky-esque, or I guess manga-esque look for, you know, Persona with their ones. And they kind of captured JoJo's art style in the editing portions for Giorno's section.
It was alright.
I was going to say, is anyone going to chime in, or do you guys disagree?
I mean, I was waiting for someone who's watched JoJo to chime in.
It was probably the weakest of the 4 analysis so far.
Oh, really?
I didn't think... Yeah, I didn't really enjoy it too much. Then again, it's probably personal bias for Giorno. So it's just like... Eh.
I don't know, I feel like did really well, like explaining his powers, being very humorous, and even going to his story. And again, the edit and art style was great.
Although, I don't know why, but the Jesus being the original JoJo joke is still one of the funniest ones.
I know. If Jesus was to have a stand, what do you think it would be called?
It would probably be called "Absolve Your Sins."
That's actually one
Italian.
What would it scream every time it punched? Oh no, it just goes "bless you" so much. Bless you, bless you, bless you, bless
Probably.
you. I'm not sure if they've ever shown it in the anime or the manga. I've always just pictured what a stands battle must look like to a normal person that can't see anything. Does it just look like just two people just standing watching each other?
Kind of.
I mean, you know what? Has that never been a gag?
Like, someone must have dressed that. Like, I mean, granted, things are getting destroyed around them, I know, especially Giorno's fights. But I've always just wondered that now after watching this Death Battle. I was like, what does this look like to other people? Like, does it just look like two guys intensely staring at each other?
That's what I really want the MCU to do with Deadpool at one point. Like, say, in an Avengers movie, he's breaking the fourth wall, but it cuts to everyone else just looking at him, just talking to nothing. And I don't know, they're just like, is he okay? And Wolverine just goes, no.
I've always actually wanted to
Should
kind
we
of
help him? Nah.
I've always actually wanted to see what fourth wall breakers look like from the other main characters' perspectives. Also, this death battle showed me that, yeah, Giorno was actually a lot more powerful than I realised watching this.
Return to zero, go Burrow.
Yeah, like, I didn't really think much of it at the fight. Like, you know, I saw, like, you know, reality bending and stuff like that, and I was like, God damn, he's actually pretty powerful. And, you know, from all the things me and Sean brought up in the last discussion, I was thinking to myself, yeah, he's pretty overpowered and a skilled fighter, but it's definitely like, yeah, he's a lot more than you realise.
He's a lot more than cinnamon roll hair.
Like I said, I wouldn't say he's my favourite of the main characters, but I won't lie, it did actually, after watching the death, I was like, okay, you know what, I have to give the guy credit, you know, he is perhaps one of the most deadliest of the Joestars, but the fact he holds back a lot is actually both commendable, but it also makes him scary when, you know, you piss him off enough. Also, the little gag where Boomstick was like almost having a mental breakdown trying to understand Giorno's power, and they had that Boomstick.exe stopped working.
Wait, so he rewrote the erase time when there was no time to was a race. How I don't.
I don't know what it is. I just love that sort of gag when, you know, a character's brain breaks so much that you see that thing pop on screen. Just like something .exe stopped working. That will never not be funny. Like, that is just peak comedy. It was also just.
I've seen a few YouTubers I like do that in their videos, and it gets a laugh at me.
It was also, you know, we didn't really speak much of it what the joke said, but I'm also just amazed at the I can actually understand why this debate's been a headache for people, because, yeah, these two seem as though a lot of them have more instant wins than most combatants that enter Death Battle. Like, there's just so many ways.
It's funny because it's not the only Persona versus JoJo debate that's like this.
Yeah, I'm noticing a theme. Which is even funny, because I think the creator of JoJo acknowledges that Persona borrows a lot of things from it, and he's a big fan of Persona.
Yeah. Araki's a really chill guy.
Yeah, a lot of manga artists tend to be.
Yeah.
And I was actually
I
finding...
also just want to bring this up since we're going back to Joker. In his feats, they put survived the Valentine's Day massacre.
Again, you'll need to explain that one to me.
So, once you max out your relationship with a female social link, you have the option to enter a romantic relationship with them. You can do that with all of them at once. And if you do that with Joker, they all find out on Valentine's Day, show up to his place, and beat the shit out of him.
Is that canon?
You say Valentine's Day. You say Valentine's Day massacre, and my mind goes, so wait, he fought Al Capone?
Yeah, I want to be honest, Persona just gets weirder and weirder, and Death Battle also just forever embedded in that tomorrow. I think I need to actually finally sit down and play it, just to be like, right, let's actually experience the weirdness in person. And
I will still say this to this day. That cat. I hate him.
It seems as though...
Same. Like, look, his whole thing with Haru is easily the worst part of the game.
How do you make someone worse than Teddy? I don't know, but they didn't.
Is that just a thing with the Persona games? There's that annoyance animal-like character. So I didn't like
Not
Teddy
in
in the
3.
anime. Well, like when mate was
I
telling me,
knew she was gonna go with 3.
Karan was the goodest boy. Okay.
Hey, he's just a dog.
everyone loves a dog, except for Dio.
Yeah. By the way, that reminds me of something I wish I said in my reaction in Giorno's analysis.
Yeah.
When they brought up how he's biologically both Jonathan and Dio's son, I was really tempted just to, like, I wish I went, oh, so this guy has 2 biological dads and that's fine, but I make an OC who has 2 biological mums and my friends get all uppity.
Well, there's a difference, mate.
I know there's a difference. I just saw that opportunity and was like, oh man, I could have done that. That might have been funny.
Here's the difference, though.
The difference is people find Jonathan and Dio hot.
That, but also both have a penis. Honestly, I wanted the silence. That's gonna be great for an edit.
What the actual honk?
Anyway, though, so should we actually get to the fight? And you know what? Similar to my opinion about the analysis and this episode overall, this fight slaps.
The Sprite team is back. Let's go.
And you know, not just addressing like just the art style, the music as well. One of the things we said, the music's got to match both the JoJo theme as well as Personas, and they captured that by a T. I think it's called Requiem for a Thief.
Yes.
And I've listened to this a lot after the death battle. It is so good.
Darewolf is back, and he made such a banger.
Yep, with a song that actually sounds like I would hear it in Persona.
Yeah, or even JoJo. Like, it's really great. Now, I have... Oh, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
The song also, apparently, the lyrics were written by Brandon, and they got Cerise, or a Forest Child, actually, on it. And her vocals are really impressive.
Yeah. Now, I have heard a complaint from some of the comments that, the sprites themselves did feel a bit janky in some shots, and I honestly couldn't see it myself. Did you guys see any jank with some of the animation with these two?
Maybe in, like, brief bits, but it's not too noticeable for me to care when watching it, like, all in one go.
Yeah, like...
Maybe when Giorno was running, but that was about it.
I don't know. I thought it did really well, and I also tend to forget that Giorno's stands actually quite of a short arse compared to other stands.
Yeah.
I tend to forget
that. Let's not forget, I imagine a lot of these sprites had to be made like from the ground up.
Oh yeah, I do not reckon a lot of these characters have a lot of sprites. It's kind of sad. As newer franchises go on, like, we don't really get that many sprites, like official ones. Most people have to make newer characters from the ground up.
So apparently there was only 2 sprite artists according to the credits. I think it's Sonia Tit, and Zach Watkins. So Back Attack worked on these sprites as well as Sonia.
Yeah, and I loved how fast-paced this fight was, but it wasn't so fast-paced I couldn't follow it. Like, you could follow every hit, every momentum of the fight. And it was also great, like, this little gag where Giorno and Joker confused the others' stands personas for, well, stands and personas. It's not like, this ain't a stand, I don't recognize his power. It's like, no, in the context that these two have just met each other, they would naturally assume, you know, this guy has a persona, this guy has a stand. I like that.
Wait, how does this guy have a second stand?
Yeah.
Oh, Giorno, if you only knew.
It was really good. I liked it.
Some of those hand drum
I'll also add
insane.
that's
like, holy hell.
Oh, you do mean when they recreated that pose when Gold Requiem first came out? That was a
that, and they hand you the freaking 7-page Buddha from the JoJo anime.
Yeah.
Was that drawn from scratch? It honestly looked like it was like ripped from the anime.
No, that was apparently drawn from scratch.
Oh. Fair play.
Yeah. I even like the dialogue between the characters. I think Purple pointing this out. Apparently, Giorno said to Joker at the start of their fight as he missed the slash attack, like, foolish ghost. He says it in Italian, though.
Yeah, they had Kieran voice Italian some lines for Giorno, and that Italian went so smoothly in that voice.
It really did. I liked it.
But from what everyone's told me, the highlight is Kevin coming back as Joker.
Yeah, the fact that so many people thought he was Xander Mobus, that says a lot about his performance.
No, surprise, it's Dimitri. That's what happened after he fought Gus's Demons. He became Joker, upgraded his cloak, and has a mask now.
Giorno's line.
I mean, a simpler way of saying it was that he now dresses like an extra on Eyes Wide Shut.
Another really awesome line that Giorno said that was the highlight for me when it came to the dialogue back and forth between two, was when he mentions Gold Experience, all objects given life by Gold Experience is desired to return, and the bullets go back into Joker's gun, and Joker's just like, oh shit.
Before it explodes.
Yeah, like that was epic. And it was a nice little throwback to the anime. I was like, I recognize that.
Yeah. Also, Jack Frost appeared, yay!
It's Atlas's mascot, of course it was gonna appear.
I'm assuming that's like a really popular Persona character.
It's a
very popular persona.
Yeah, it's like an unofficial mascot of the franchise.
In the games, you can actually get like a plushie or a figure of him.
Yeah.
How does that work?
I was surprised that they decided to pick Alice, because that thing can instantly kill you with Die For Me.
Yeah. Boy, Alice, she really doesn't look intimidating, but she is.
I was gonna say they did showcase a few of the other personas Joker can summon, which I did kind of wish he did, because they looked so much cooler then. I'm sorry, Persona fans, I just thought some of them looked much cooler than Jack Frost.
I think, to be fair, wild cards can only have a certain amount of personas at one time.
Yeah, but with completing the compendium, and they mentioned in Black Box that they have access to the Velvet Room in combat, so he could just, use that to get like whichever one he wants.
Yeah, so
I think it was easy for them just to animate Joker only having limited personas, rather than just being like, hey, let's just do a quick scene of him going to the Velvet Room. Well,
that and budget.
Yeah, I guess that could be the
like
case.
They're also making the sprites from the ground up. Like, you gotta pick and choose a little bit.
I suppose that makes sense. With the amount of work that went into this, I cannot completely understand. Now, here's my only criticism with the final bit of the fight. they did make it a bit obvious Joker was about to win.
Yeah, the second Requiem came out, and we got the Muda. It's just like, okay, well, he hasn't used Satan Isle yet, so...
Like, the moment, like, you know, he hit the wall and the music started to go dim and it showed those flashbacks in the character's corner, I was like, okay, Joker's won, hasn't he? Like, it was so obvious, like, and long dragged out that I was just like, just waiting for the death, mostly. And that even goes to my latest complaint. I do think the death was pretty weak. Like, the line that Joker says was pretty badass, you know, referencing, like, you know, the checkmate that he said to Giorno at the start of the fight.
Where did he get the second gun from?
Huh.
It's part of his neutral special. He wields a gun.
Yeah, that might have been
Any gun.
You know what? All the more reason for Ben to post that meme. I'll kill you with the magic of friendship and this gun I found.
Also, to be fair, can't you just have multiple items, multiple guns in your inventory? He's an RPG character. He can get away with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, that might have been an oversight in the animation department if he was able to pull out a gun, but he already lost it. But if it turns out he can hold multiple, there's like, okay, then it's not too bad.
Yeah, at that point, like, who really cares?
Yeah.
There is
Now,
like one little reference also at the end of the animation, but turns out it points out to the next time, so I think I can save it to then.
Yeah.
now then, the outcome, Giorno...
Also,
Okay, sorry, I thought you guys were done.
I wanted to bring this up. So, after the Sinful Shell gets fired and Requiem like does the whole like, you know, flurry of punches trying to return it to zero, arm gets blown off, boom, dead. Where have I seen that before? Only this was way cooler.
Yeah.
So, do you guys want any more to add about the fight before we talk about the results?
Overall, really cool fight. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I would dare say
Same.
this is so far the best fight we've gotten. Depends on the next time and the next few fights we get this year. Now, of course, this goes to what do I think about the outcome? I don't agree with Joker winning. Not saying I don't think Joker can win, I just think their reasoning behind it was rather weak.
Also, torches and pitchforks down. We've talked about it before. It's okay to disagree with Death Battle. Go on, Phil.
Yeah, like, overall, this episode I'd say is a 10 out of 10. Like, you know, regardless that I don't agree that Joker should have won given the reasons. I've rewatched this fight so many times. It's really good. However, I do just feel as though this is my major gripe. They used a non-canon story that has no connections to the mainline JoJo to say, oh, this is why we think the sinful gun would... I can't remember what the attack was called. Yeah, it's like, this is why we
Sinful
think...
Shell.
Yeah, this is why we think this would work, because this non-canon story arc with different stories and origins and different versions of the characters would nullify this Golden Requiem. It's like...
I don't think that was like the reason. It was just, hey, this logic is sort of backed up in JoJo.
Right, but then here's my reason for this. By this logic, couldn't we use other non-canon stories to give characters bigger bonuses? Like, can we now say because Bane managed to defeat Doomsday in Elseworld DC stories, then we could say Bane is just as strong as Superman? Can we say because Batman's defeated Superman in Elseworld stories with his bat suits, can we say he's logically stronger than Superman? And given how Death Battle's always tried to avoid, like, not using non-canon stuff because it can't, you know, it can be drastically different from the mainline story, that's kind of my gripe with this. Like, I could, you know, maybe buy their reason that maybe the shell can overwhelm characters like Requiem. It's like, maybe. But because they say, well, because in this non-canon story, which they didn't even address was non-canon in the first place, did kind of feel misleading.
They did provide a black box about it, though. I'm going to read it word for word. Eyes of Heaven was written by the author of JoJo and occurs in the series' wider multiverse. This provides necessary context for Gold Experience Requiem's abilities and weaknesses, which are only touched upon in Part 5.
Right, but here's my other counter argument. Remember what we said in past third topics when we talk about the original creators when it comes to death battle stuff like that? Sometimes the original creators don't know shit about their characters in terms of, like, you know, the science behind it. Like, Stan Lee...
I was more so thinking...
Like, he would constantly say, Daredevil has better senses than Spider-Man. We know that's not the case. It could be favoritism, or it just could be, like, maybe Stan Lee just didn't think about a lot of the feats he'd given these characters. And
I was more so going to say, like, at that point, that is just taking the word of God, which Death Battle has avoided multiple times before. So it kind of is inconsistent with their past.
It is, and also, I just feel as though Giorno just had more instant wins than Joker did, because one of the things that, you know, they mentioned with Joker is that using too many personas can overwhelm him, and, you know, even using the very more powerful characters can, you know, overwhelm him. It was also Giorno's ability to nullify willpower, but I know they said, like, oh, but Joker can, you know, because of his I do find it funny, this is one of the few death battles where friendship actually helped out the winner. You know, most of the time, power of friendship in anime really does not mean squat in a death battle. But however, I just feel as though Giorno could have just simply just made his willpower null again, because he's done that to beings more powerful than Joker.
Yeah, but has he done it to someone who has, like, greater will than all of mankind?
So, okay, let me ask you this, mate. You say that, what does that mean?
The Persona protagonists have willpower greater than that of all mankind.
So, are you saying if you had the willpower of all of mankind, you could stop reality from tearing itself apart?
Well, also...
Depends on the context. But
Look...
I've only just thought about this. Imagine Persona protags as Green Lanterns.
Like, okay, look, in the context of Persona, that is a great feat. That he used the willpower with mankind to defeat a villain. However, at the same time, Giorno has defeated someone who could tear reality apart.
Yeah, so is Joker.
Yes, but I feel as though Giorno could just have more instant wins, and I just feel that argument is like, well, he had the power of all of mankind. It's like, again, that's just anime protagonism, like, you know, the willpower and stuff like that. Which, again, Giorno can just make willpower null, and there's no definitive way to say
I think
a character who wields all of mankind can just overtax this ability.
so.
That's my
I think the way they
issue
probably
with
could
this.
have done it, the way they probably could have done it better to give Joker the benefit of the doubt is I'm bad with the name of this character, but you remember that boss fight where he rewrote reality and Joker was resistant to it?
Maruki.
Yeah, in the analysis they just said he rewrote reality, while in your reaction that you said Joker resisted. They never broke that down. So maybe if they broke down that kind of resistance that Joker has possessed against something like that, that would have been better.
Yeah, there's like a bad ending cutscene where everyone is like going along with Maruki's like ideal reality, but Joker knows this isn't reality. Well, they're all like oblivious to it. But it's real for them.
I think the better way to handle that, if they were going to be like, does Joker have can Joker technically resist it? They probably could have broken that down a little bit more.
Yeah. I do feel as though, especially nearing the ending, because they were nearing its credits at the same time, it really did feel as though the explanation was also kind of rushed, which, given Persona and JoJo's story and powers, I feel as though they should have taken more time, especially with a controversial debate, which is this one. But with that said, it's still a fantastic episode in my opinion. I've rewatched it so many times. I don't agree with the outcome. Make it 2 for 2. What do I get if I disagree with the next time?
Well, mate has to send you a tea.
It better be Yorkshire tea, mate.
I also just went and looked something up because it was something that they listed in Joker's analysis. Let me just let's see. One of the wildcard. Wait. Unshaken Will. That's something that protects the user just automatically from mental ailments and shit.
Yeah, I've already given my thoughts, but yeah, the Gold Requiem's willpower thing isn't a mental attack. It's confusing. But I've already said my piece.
Requiem's weird.
Yeah, welcome to JoJo, mate. How do you think I felt when I was first watching it? It's both amazing, but it's so much of a trip. It's an acid trip. My final sign-up before I let you guys finish off your thoughts on it. Fantastic episode, and I was originally going to go into saying this should have been the premiere, but given how good I thought the last one was, it's like, you know what? No. This is a good second episode. Which
Considering...
I'm still surprised this is the second episode.
Yeah, Bill, about that.
This was originally going to be the season 11 premiere.
Oh, really? Yeah, I wonder why they changed it.
Look what happened! And then, because I think it was according to Luis, they were halfway done production of this episode, then everything went to shit.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right, Rooster Teeth. Completely forgot about that.
Thank you, those shit down the street.
Are you ever going to just let it go, mate?
No.
To be fair, they're the reasons we have the channel independent now. My final thoughts, fantastic episode overall. I think Giorno's analysis could have been done better, but I still had a fun time. Death Battle preseason, baby. Let's get it.
Yeah. Mate, do you have any final says about the episode? Any little highlights you want to bring up before we talk about the next time?
I think I've said my piece. One thing I will just throw out there. So my Hall of Fames that I do, I'm doing it a bit differently this time. For Joker winning, I also added every other persona he used in the fight. So, like, Alice, Jack Frost, and Centennial are all in there as well.
Well,
considering we've only got, like, 4 episodes. Considering we've only got, like, 4 episodes, I thought, you know, that'd be a good way to fill it out. And, boy, the next time's gonna help with that!